Okay, so welcome everyone. My name is Navneet, and today I present with my co-host Saksha. We are part of Helios, the marketing society of SRCC GBO. We are starting our first ever episode of Helios Talks, where we bring you some industry experts from marketing background. And today we have a guest, Miss Divya Gautam from SRCC GBO as well. She has passed out from SRCC this year, 2024, and she's currently placed at Tech Mahindra. Uh, so, Divya, can you give us a basic introduction about yourself?
Right. First of all, hi Navneet, hi Saksham. It's good to meet you. Um, Talking a little bit about myself. I've done my schooling from Delhi. Did my undergrad from so I'll be first covering my ed background. So I did my undergrad from CVS, that's Delhi University. I'm a management student by nature. Then decided to go ahead with an MBA. Did passed out from SRCC in 2024. That's a little bit about my ed background. But apart from that, I love exploring new places. I love drawing, sketching, coloring, playing badminton, reading novels. That's my forte. I enjoy a nice cup of coffee with a good novel. Uh, and yes, currently placed at Tech Mahindra, working in the marketing department, particularly the branding department of Tech M. Yeah, and I'm happy to be a part of the discussion so forth. Yeah.
Thank you so
Thanks
much,
a lot,
Divya.
Divya. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Saksham, you can
yeah,
go
we are
ahead.
really flattered. So we are really flattered by your response. So Divya, let's start with the million-dollar question we all have in mind. After your UG, you made a decision to choose SRCC's GBO program. And was it this course? The why you choose this course? The prestige, or just to sound fancy enough to confuse your loved ones at a family gathering, or what? Why you choose this course?
I got to know about this course from one of my seniors of my undergrad college. So she got into SRCC in the GBO course. So I was very inquisitive because that's where I first got to know about this course. So naturally, a little bit of curiosity, it got in me that I because I didn't know SRCC offers this course as well. So upon digging a little deeper and understanding that it's a very budding course and knowing that you will get the SRCC tag as well and the faculty, it's amazing, and especially the ROI that you get from the college. So
Yes.
that's when I decided to go ahead with the entrance exam and finally managed to get a seat in the course.
Did you come into this program with the expectations? Like, were you expecting everybody to be super serious or super cool? And then eventually you realized we are all trying just to figure out what expectation should we have. So, for a fresh graduate or a fresh MBA aspirant who's looking to enter GBO, what expectation he or she should have in or her mind?
So the expect I didn't have many expectations. That's one thing for me because I generally don't hold many expectations from anything. Particularly about the course, I thought that since it's an SRCC offered program, I thought that the faculty would be really amazing, and actually didn't disappoint me because teachers from the finance department, from the marketing department, they're amazing. Then we have Bala sir, then there's the marketing sir, Govil sir, then Rastigi sir. So I genuinely miss their classes because they were so full of, you know, experience and learning. So that's one thing I had a few expectations of the faculty, and sure to say they didn't disappoint me.
Uh, that was a wonderful answer. I also would like to know about your experience in the corporate relation and placement cell. particularly, how was your first year experience when you first got into this particular cell, and what was like the cold calling process? How did you deal with it? And since it is all, you are also in the marketing domain, how did it particularly help you in like reaching out to unknown people for recruitment process and showcasing them the skill set of the whole batch? Was it stressful for you? Did you have any particular challenges academically and other cases? And how did you overcome it?
Definitely. So, answering your question, Navneet, my first year's experience of CRPC, it was full of learning for me because I wasn't a part of the placement cell in my undergraduation college. So everything was very new for me. Learning how to cold call and then representing the entire batch in front of the corporate world. A few of the many challenges that I faced while being in the first year placement cell was that many people, especially the recruiters, they weren't aware of our program. So making them aware and convincing them to be a part of our prestigious program, that was one of the many challenges that not just me but the entire cell faced. And how we tried to overcome that was we gave our insights and our learnings to the faculty members, and there was a continuous flow of improvement. There was always this mindset of trying to improve our course in terms of the in terms of the subjects taught and the selection procedure. And needless to say, the faculty and even the course coordinators, they're always in they are totally hell bent into improving the course, making sure that
Yes.
they're working and striving to ensure that everybody is aware of the course. That's the first thing, and not just awareness but making sure that we are among the top colleges to be recognized for any particular uh, department. And the other challenge that I faced while convincing the recruiters for to be a part of our code, to be a part of our program recruitment drive, was that recruiters specifically asked for marketing specific programs. So if you would be also aware, our program isn't a specific finance program or a particularly HR related program. It's an MBA program, and that's, I think, one of the USPs of our program. It's a multifaceted program, right? And we're taught every particular subject from an Indian as well as an international perspective. So trying to make the HRs and the recruiters understand our point of view from that perspective, it was a little challenging at first, but then once we got the hang of it, of the cold calling and everything, I think it was a superb process. It was a great experience for me to engage with the recruiters and understand that how much I lack in my convincing. So there were two things. First was representing the badge and trying to uh, you know uh, let the recruiters to convince the recruiters to be a part of our program. Second thing was me. I had a lot of personal self improvement in my first year. So I realized that this is where I lack in terms of the communication skills, or let's say the convincing skills. You need to have a certain level of confidence when you talk to the HRs. So that's also one thing that I realized in my first year, and since then I've been trying to improve on that aspect as well.
So, adding on to what you said, I just also wanted to ask you, how did you like the experience in your first year, what you had gained from your seniors? How did it shape your second year? And what were some key initiatives that you had taken for your juniors, for the whole, like what were some key points that you focused on for the next batch that can be addressed, and what were the learnings? Can you discuss about that as well?
Definitely. So, in my first year of not just the placement cell but the GBO program as well, I realized that a lot of recruiters, they So recruiters have a particular time and a period of getting in touch with the colleges. So that's one thing that I realized for the next year when I was a part of the senior placement cell. So we had laid out specific timelines that these are the specific companies that we need to reach out for, let's say in the first half of this particular month, and we used to chalk out these timelines. A few other things that I learned from my first year was that uh, learning should never stop. So that's not related to a placement cell, but uh, for every student, I would say that the learning should never stop. And your so 9 to 5, that should not definitely
Yes.
be your timing for college, so to say. So I would highly recommend that for any student specifically, your student life should not be governed only by the classes you take or you attend in college. You should be involved in, let's say, anchoring events, then let's say, in some particular sport or some physical activity. uh, Case study competitions is one thing that I would highly recommend, because
Yes.
there you get to interact with other students as well from other colleges. So you understand what is their thinking process like, how do they present, how do they deliver their presentations. So, and that really for me was an eye opener, because that's when I got to interact with others and try to understand their perspective as well. So uh, so those are a few of the many learnings that I had, and I also tried to ensure that for my junior placement cell, I made sure that their learning should not just be the placement cell, from the placement cell, but in general, I used to recommend them as well to be a part of case study competitions, then hang out with their friends. It's a college life, you won't get it again. So you should aim to enjoy it as well. Go out, hang out with your friends, party, and then that's all. So according to me, you should be you should live your life these 2 years to the fullest. And because once you enter the job life, I'm telling you, you are going to miss these 2 years a lot. So since you are a part of it, enjoy it.
Rightly said, a student is always a student. So let's switch gears and bit and talk about internships, Divya. Internship season is on, and we know that internship pressure is the first pressure you really, as an MBA graduate, you feel. And internships can feel like a speed dating for jobs. How did you approach finding the one, and what advice would you give to the students who are swiping left, right, and center trying to land theirs? So, what insights you would like to give to first year students?
So for the first year students, firstly, I understand that a internship season would have started. Uh, Try to be open minded, not just limited to one particular profile if you haven't figured already. uh, Particularly for me, I already had in mind that I want to get into a marketing internship, so I used to apply only for marketing internships. In case there's someone who wants to test out the waters, I would recommend apply for as many internships as possible. And brand is one thing that you should always look out for, along the with the responsibilities that you would be getting. So if I had to really put these things in an order, for me particularly, the role that I would be getting, that's the first priority for me. Because even if I got into a good brand but didn't do really well in terms of the role, didn't have that much of a learning, that
Okay.
wouldn't be it for me. So for all the first years out there, I would personally say, make the role your priority. Then we have the brand. So once you have your goals into place, then look out for the brand. And I understand it can be a little overwhelming for you guys, but
Yeah.
just take things very easy. Go with the flow. Don't panic, because I used to panic. So that's one learning for you guys, from my experience. Don't panic. Just go with the flow. Before applying for any internship, go through the JD extremely well, because that's from where you would be asked many of the questions by the interviewers. Then we have your CV. Have your CV in place. No, in case you don't, let me make you understand by an example. If you don't have Power BI skills in you, then do not write it in your CV, because if the recruiter, if he or she reads Power BI in your CV, and if he or she questions you about it and you're not able to answer it, then there's no point, because then once you set that pace and you set that repo in front of the recruiter, then there's
Yeah.
no coming back. So I understand first is would be involved in a lot of courses by Havish sir, but in
Yeah.
case you're not crystal clear about it, then I would recommend you not to write it in your CV. And then apart from that, so for me personally, I did apply to a few internships, uh, but I luck wasn't in my favor, so I converted an offline internship. So that's another thing for you folks. Always be open minded. Don't just rely on online internships, on campus internships, but keep on applying for offline internships as well, because you never know from where you can get a better offer, right? So for me, I did apply for an offline internship and I managed to get one. And it was a great experience for me. And things turned out in my favor. Yeah.
And Divya, do you believe in the power of networking? Because Bala sir, for instance, or Sachdeva sir, they say that it's more important that networking is more important than what's on your resume. How do you build your networking during your GBO days? Was it your forte, or you just take it like in a flow? And did you have a go-to strategy, or did you just bribe people like I do and we do, like take them or for a food date or a coffee date or like these things we used to do? So, do you believe in the power of networking or not?
It's said that network is your net worth, right? And I genuinely believe in
Oh,
that. Yeah. So, for me personally, since I was involved in a lot of case competitions, and so that's from where I got to meet new people. And I used to, we used to stay in touch and have conversations around what's going on in their college, how is their college like, what subjects are taught to them, how is their pedagogy in terms of the courses taught. So that's one area from where I was able to network with a lot of like-minded people. Then LinkedIn is a great platform if you use it well, right? So I used to get in touch with, I used to send requests to a lot of people of my age group, a lot of college students only. So I used to ask them, obviously not being a creep. So that's a separate thing. But so I used to connect with them. We used to engage in conversations, meaningful conversations,
yeah.
and yes, so that's another area for me, via which I used to network, and I still do. So that's a great thing. You should never stop networking.
That was a great answer. Divya, I also would like to understand how did you personally like figure out the CV game? Like, you have to balance out various things in your CV. Like you mentioned case competitions and certifications. So if a student is interested in like two different fields and he has still not figured out whether he wants to go into marketing or operations, then how does he or she needs to approach into that? And how can he showcase it like brand management, his personal brand image? How can he showcase that to the recruiters, whether in CV or LinkedIn? What will be the strategy look like? Can you give an answer?
So CV is the first thing. CV is the blank sheet. CV is the actual paper sheet that you take during your interviews. That you show to the interviewers, right? So definitely that's the first thing that you should have in order. LinkedIn, I'm not sure if many recruiters go through it. Some generally do. So try to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is as updated as possible. Talking about how do you manage your CV, So for me, so it's all about prioritizing. So I wanted the recruiters to ask me questions from a particular area only. So those are the pointers that I had mentioned in my CV, and those were the points that I was very comfortable talking about. If let's say I had won an award in class sixth, who's going to ask me about that, right? So things that are very pertinent about your profile and you want to showcase in front of the interviewers and you would be comfortable having a conversation about. So those are the pointers that I would recommend the students to mention. uh, and apart from that, any hobbies or any skills, case competitions that you've been a part of, because they also highlight one thing, that you are not just into studies. Recruiters do not want to hire, students who are only academically driven, because that's boring, right? So recruiters also want students to be a part of, let's say, the drama club or the singing society. Personally, for me, I wasn't a part of any of those, but I showcased that I enjoyed playing badminton, then engaging in case study competitions, reading novels. So those are also a few of the pointers that you can mention in your CV to showcase that you are not just, let's say, an 80% or a 90%, 95% grader, but you're more than that.
Understood. So I also would like to know what are the key trends going on in the market right now, currently in the in the brand uh, management that you are currently handling. Do you see any key trends that a student can prepare in advance that can give him an edge over others? What are the keys, like certifications he can do, or certain tools that he can identify which can give him an advantage?
So these trends that I not trends per se, but these are some of the skills that every marketing student should possess, according to me. So, talking a little about the technical skills first, not just marketing, but to all the folks, Power BI and advanced Excel is one thing that I'm sure we are also taught in college, but its importance can't be stressed much, right? Because it's extremely important, and if you understand, if you're aware of all these of just two things, Power BI and Excel, according to me, for marketing, these two things are more than enough, more than sufficient if you want to have an edge over others. Because Power BI helps you, it helps you showcase data in a very visually appealing manner. And then advanced Excel makes your life way easier. So those are a few of the two things. Apart from that, I think digital marketing is the upcoming boom. Then we have Gen AI. So Gen AI is the talk of the town, right? So you shouldn't fear away from understanding all about the new technological advancements that are coming up. Try to ensure that you are able to inculcate all these things in your job profile, in your day-to-day job operations, because they are genuinely here to stay and they make your life way easier. So apart from that, from a brand perspective, I think having a not just a customer centric but a customer obsessed approach, because that's what I follow. According to me, customer centric is one thing and being customer obsessed is another thing. So ensuring that you're able to understand the market sentiments well, you have, you're able to make decisions really well, you have the analytical ability in place, then you have your digital skills in place. All these things, I think these are very important for any marketer out there.
Oh, yeah. So, Divya, I was just curious to ask you that what were the some of the biggest challenges you have faced in a short span of 3 or 4 months you have since working with Tech Mahindra, and what kept you motivated? Was it the thought of proving everybody wrong, or just a lot of caffeine?
uh, Not many challenges as of now. It's just more of understanding, and it's more of not many challenges. Yeah, it's just that
Okay.
since it's my first job, so understanding how corporate really works, that's one thing. And then trying to manage time really well, I think, because since you're new to the company, right, you have a lot piled up for you. So just really being able to manage time well, that's one area that I still am facing right now. But I'm sure I'll be able to manage it well in some time. So apart from that, it's just that you should be good at what you do.
Okay.
So not any other challenge per se. It's just that I've got a great team, and people here are really nice. They're very sweet, very accommodative and understanding. So nothing, not as problematic as such. Yeah, it's just that there's a
And
lot of work,
yeah.
but yeah, that's fair.
So we are just trying to get learn about more things about you. So do you plan goals for you for a short term or long term? And what's the next big goal for you? And more importantly, how do you plan to celebrate when you reach it? That we like to learn from you. That is there a 10-year plan for you, a 5-year plan for you, since you are new in this corporate world? So what are your views in it on it?
So there used to be this 10-year and 5-year plans while giving interviews for recruiters, right? so so
Yeah.
no 5-year or 10-year plans for me. These, I think, are some of the questions that recruiters ask when you plan to enter the job, right? uh, for me, my only goal is to never stop learning and be good at what I do. Not just good, but the best at what I do. So, under branding, I'm a part of the strategy and the ORM and the social media management team, the strategizing part. So, I try to ensure that I'm aware of what the competitors are into, the other companies, the big Accentures and the IBMs and Infosys of the world they're into.
Yeah.
uh, but that's the only goal for me, right? Nothing else as of now. Just to be great at what I do and never stop learning. Because when you stop learning, I think you have a really laid back attitude, and you just look forward to the 9 to 5 job. So that for me, I don't want to be a part of that. So I think you should have the right attitude uh, to really, ensure
Okay.
that you strive for excellence. Yeah.
So Devya, before we wrap up, we have just a couple of questions. Like, if you could go back to the start of your GBO journey, what one advice you would like to give to yourself, other than skipping the 9 a.m. classes, of course? So, what one
uh,
advice you would like to give to any first year kid, first year graduate, first year MBA graduate? So what? Yeah.
my only advice is going to be, things are going to fall into place. Don't worry. Just enjoy the process, and you'll do good. Don't worry. You're there.
And on the final note, can you also suggest 3 to 4 your books that are favorite yours you would like to recommend to our audience?
Uh, few of the many books that I got to read were that really changed my perspective about life were Atomic Habits, and I'm not able to recall the author, but these are very famous books, right? So there's Atomic Habits, and the bibliography of APJ Abdul Kalam, that's Wings of Fire, and Steve Jobs, the autobiography of Steve Jobs. So these are some really good books that I got a hang of, and I really enjoyed reading. So if you've got time, you can indulge in them. Yeah.
Okay, Divya, thank you so much for joining us today. You have given us such some serious wisdom and maybe even some ideas for our next internships. We hope our listeners are taking notes and thanks a lot again, Divya, and thanks you all to all our listeners. And that's a wrap, folks. And we will meet you on the next podcast. Stay tuned, stay
Just
foolish, and stay.
just one thing.
Yeah,
Uh, Congratulations to all those who've managed to bag an internship, who've managed to bag a placement. For all those who've not been able to so far, don't worry.
yeah,
Just you know, keep working for it. Don't be demotivated, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comparisons. People, there's a lot of, there's this mindset of uska ho gaya mera nahi hua. So
sure.
that's fair also, but don't get demotivated. Work for it,
Yeah.
and just be fair. Just be true to yourself. Yeah, you'll do good.
Do you still read your newspapers daily like you used to do in your MBA?
No, yeah, I actually genuinely try to, because that's very necessary. But I do
Yeah.
have these applications, mobile
Okay.
applications, and I get the news update from the app.
Okay. Thank you, Divya, for your wonderful words and encouragement to all the students, and all the best for your future as well. Have a nice
You
day.
too. Thank you so much for
Have a
having me.
nice.